අද මගේ USA ටුවර් එකේ 6 වෙනි දවස. අද අපි උදෙන්ම ෆ්ලැග්ස්ටාෆ් වලින් පිටත් වෙලා යනවා ලාස් වෙගාස් වලට. අපි ලාස් වෙගාස් වලට යන්නේ හිස්ටොරික් රූට් 66 එකේ. මේ ඔයගලන්ට පේන්නේ රූට් එක.
Rudimentary bathrooms out the back too, kind of like some little outhouse situation. A couple of gift shops on the left. You can see the big flag with the Texaco. That's Angel's store and barber shop. He's still alive. He's very old, but he's still on the right side in front of this brown building, the Roadrunner. And if you keep going straight a little farther and then cross the street on the left, that's where there's another big parking lot full of all the cars with the eyeballs. Cars. Here's our Roadrunner folks. Pull up right here. Perfecto. Bathrooms are in the back left, and then coffees and snacks and drinks and whatnot further on. Let's do 40 minutes.
අපි රූට් 66 එකේ යන අතරේ අතරමඟ හම්බෙච්ච සෙලිග්මන් කියන පොඩි ටවුන් එකේ නැවතුව රෙස්ට් කරන්න. මේ රූට් 66 එක වැදගත් වෙන්නේ ඇමරිකාවේ හුඟක් පොත් ලියවිලා තියෙනවා මේ පාර සම්බන්ධව. ඒ වගේම මූවීසුත් නිෂ්පාදනය කරලා තියෙනවා. මේ රූට් 66 එක චිකාගෝ වල ඉලිනොයිස් වලින් පටන් අරන් සාන්තා මොනිකා වලින් තමයි ඉවර වෙන්නේ. සාන්තා මොනිකා වල ඉවර වෙන තැන මම කලින් වීඩියෝ එකක ඔයගලන්ට පෙන්නලා ඇති.
But Vegas is in the very bottom corner down here in a section called the Mojave Desert. But up north, it's called the Great Basin Desert. And so the whole state is very... Trust me, there's nothing exciting about Area 51. All right, if you say so. Other than that... Back up to where we'll be in a moment. That mountain range over on the left, that is the border between Arizona and Nevada. So as you look left, the Colorado River will pop in and out of view a couple times. But if you do see water flowing that direction, that is the Colorado. So this is after Grand Canyon and after Hoover Dam. As it continues to flow down south, it is the border between Arizona and Nevada, and then the border between Arizona and California. Just remember when we left Blaine back on Saturday, we crossed the Colorado. And it's not nearly as big as it was where you saw it in Grand Canyon. And so this river is primarily fed through snowmelts up in the Rocky Mountains. So as that snow melts in the spring, it's collected in the various tributaries, comes towards the Colorado, and then we save it. If all the dams weren't there, it would be susceptible to periodic flooding events, and it would be washing a lot of that silt and debris still as it's carving through the plateau. And so the river officially starts in the state of, but then it wouldn't start in the state of Colorado. So the state of Colorado will levy your retirement money.
අපි දැන් නතර කළා හෙමන්වේ පාක් එක ගාව රෙස් කරන්න. මෙතන ඉන්නවා ගොඩාක් බිග් හෝන් ෂීප්ස්ලා. මේ ඔයගලන්ට පේන්නේ ඉන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි. මෙතනින් තමයි හූවර් ඩෑම් එක බලන්නත් යන්නේ. අපි දැන් මෙතන ටික වෙලාවක් රෙස් කරලා ලාස් වෙගාස් වලට යන්න පිටත් වුණා. අපි දැන් ලාස් වෙගාස් වලට ආවා. මේ පේන හොටෙල් එකේ තමයි අපි අද නවතින්නේ. ගෝල්ඩන් නගට් හොටෙල්. අපේ හොටෙල් එකකින් එළියට ආවම මේ වගේ නියෝන් ලයිට්ස්, මියුසිකල් ෂෝස් එහෙම බලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. මේ තමයි අපේ රූම් එක. ඊළඟට අපි රැ වෙලා ගියා ලාස් වෙගාස් එක්ස්ප්ලෝර් කරන්න.
And originally it had laser beams that popped out of his eyes. But if you look at where the Sphinx is staring, straight at the airport, once again, bad idea. So that didn't last very long before they turned the eyeballs off. But inside that pyramid, which is just slightly smaller than the pyramid at Giza, there is a large enough an atrium where you put 9 Boeing 747s and stack them. Great fun. That's over at the Excalibur on the left side. Yeah, so bigger than the real Sphinx. Also, that obelisk is bigger than its counterpart as well. Yeah, when they first opened Luxor, it was a bit subtle. because it was just really have been pilots landing planes in Los Angeles that have claimed they've been able to see the Luxor Pyramid when it was really, really going. But again, I kind of had that turned off for a while now. Now over on the right, this big empty space, probably a baseball stadium. At least that is the plan and the buzz and what we're all being told. Up until last year, this was where the Tropicana Hotel was, which was one of the last remnants of the 1950s mobster-era casinos. But it saw its last as they imploded it, and now they're making room for the baseball stadium. And they seem to be on their way, building something, so that's what we've been told. There's your Excalibur on the left. Now across the street on the left, also, you do have the New York, New York. So that skyline of New York City is done in imitation of the real thing. And so those are buildings from the skyline of Manhattan that are done to scale. So you have like the Chrysler Building and Empire State and such. Never were any twin towers, just kind of due to its kind of meant to take you into like a runaway taxi. It's kind of what they're going for. But it does a big loop and a bit of a drop turn, gives you some negative G-force. Now, if you know what you're looking at, once you go inside New York, New York, they have the interior decor to look like the different boroughs and landmarks of New York City. So you can be like, oh, hey, look, check that. Now we're in Central Park. Oh, that's Brooklyn. Oh, that's a landmark in the Bronx. For the rest of it just looks kind of fun because you go inside, it just feels like you're walking through a city because they've got clever painted on the ceiling. They have trees popping out of the floor. So it gives you a little bit of a New York flair. And then some of the restaurants and bars, they have that little New York touch to it. As we drive on the left, you'll see a recreation of the Brooklyn Bridge that more people walk across every year than the real Brooklyn in Brooklyn. This was a little theme, and one of the nicknames is the Emerald City, like Wizard of Oz, because of all the green. So they had a lot of architecture and like little flair, like paintings and photos, and kind of hyping up classic movies. Again, not as cool, so I kind of de-emphasize that a little bit. They used to have live lions in there even. They had a little enclosure. You can watch people play with lions. But it is the single largest gaming floor in the city. As far as an attraction you must see, not really. It's just big. Very, very big. There's your Brooklyn Bridge on the left. Right side, it's a whole string of shopping. If you're into M&M's or Coca-Cola, there are the stores where you'll get all the branded merch with all the M&M's and the Coca-Cola, as well as a Hard Rock Cafe coming up on the right side, where you can get all your souvenirs if you're collecting those, pint glasses or something. Down to the left is the driveway that would take you to the T-Mobile Arena. That's the one for the hockey games. And then Park MGM, another MGM portfolio. Not really anything that special about that one. But it used to be the Monte Carlo when it was originally built back in the 90s. Kind of had a subtle Monaco sort of theme going on. These days it's been renovated. It's nice, but there's not like a big thing to see. Now, left side after Park MGM, this is one of the new ones. I hinted at it before how we had the MGM City Center, the one that they opened up in 2009. Managed to get across the finish line because it was almost done when the economic... Go for a stroll through the city center. You see on the left the Aria, that's the main casino at the bottom of that big tower. And then following up on the left, you see the next one that has like the blue lines on it. It'll pop out from the trees here, the blue lines. That's the Cosmopolitan. Or just the Cosmo, as a lot of people call it. And that opened up as well right at the end of the financial crisis in 2010. And that one opened for about just under $4 billion. That's the one that the bank ended up opening it because they were the ones holding the deed at the end. Deutsche Bank, that's the one. There you go, here's a good look into the city center. So all of that is one property, $9 billion. It's owned by the MGM people. And here you can see Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, so that's the fancy shops. Cosmo is separate. It looks like it's part of the same complex, but it is separate. It's pretty trendy. Like, it's a very hip spot for a lot of the young people to go. They've got some excellent nightlife and some cool restaurants that are, some of them are recreations of famous restaurants in places like New York City or Los Angeles. And they'll have a branch here. They've got a big deck up there by the marquee sign where they have a pool deck and all the rest. And one of their claims to fame is they have a 3-story chandelier bar. So you go in, and it's just a massive chandelier that you walk inside, and then the tables and chairs, and it's a couple different stories of this big chandelier bar. Very cool. So yeah, it's Cosmo's worth this. Planet Hollywood. So this used to be the Aladdin back in the 60s. Turn of the century, they tried Aladdin 2.0, didn't really work, and so they rebranded it as Planet Hollywood. And so, again, much like MGM, a lot of focus on the movies and the memorabilia and all the rest. So if you go into the rooms, there's little showcases of some movie props and things in some of the hotel rooms. But it also has a big shopping mall. And at the taxi rank at Paris, they also have a recreation of the Arc de Triomphe, which is right there at the front as well. So we'll get a quick view of that. And then as we're coming in and out of Bellagio, you'll get some views of Paris quite clearly. Okay, here's Planet Hollywood right side, Miracle Mile, advertising their shopping mall. Yeah, they've got a good stage in there too. They often have some big headliners, pop stars, and people who rotate through. I don't know who's playing at the moment. Like Britney Spears had a big residency there for a while among other people. Whereas on the left side, the Bellagio, this was Steve Wynn's third project, okay? So Paris on the right, 90s, because there's a theme. Late 90s, it was 99. About $760 million, just under 3,000 rooms. Now, Steve Wynn, the guy that did the Mirage, right? So he makes the Mirage, he makes Treasure Island next door, comes down here, makes Bellagio, sells all three to MGM, and then starts two new projects, the Wynn and the Encore, which we'll see later. Now, Bellagio was supposed to be his 21 and older exclusive posh casino. Didn't quite work out like that, as far as like being 21 and over, but it is posh. Compared to his other two casinos, this one he put a lot more money and time into to really make it glamorous. And so this one, $1.6 billion in 1998 was a lot of money. These days, when they're building them for $9 million, it seems cute, 1.6, but back in 1998, that was somewhat scandalous to be spending that much money on a casino. Now, when we go inside, you'll see how they spent that money. Again, the interior decor is just popping. And so one thing to keep in mind is when we walk into the entryway and you're looking up, your eyes will be drawn up to this big chandelier of this.
අපි දැන් ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නේ හොටෙල් බෙලාජියෝ එකට. මේ හොටෙල් එක හරිම ලස්සනයි. මේක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා ලස්සන ඉන්ඩෝ ගාඩන් එකක්. ඒ වගේම ලස්සන චැන්ඩලියර් එකකුත් තියෙනවා. මේ පේන්නේ ඔයගන්ට චැන්ඩලියර් එක. ඒක මේ හොටෙල් එක ඉස්සරහ අපිට හැම විනාඩි 15කට සැරයක්ම වෝටර් ෂෝ එකක් තියෙනවා. ඔයගන්ට ඒක බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් මේ වීඩියෝ එකෙන්. අපි දැන් යන්නේ ලෝකේ ලොකුම චොක්ලට් ෆවුන්ටන් එක බලන්න. ඒක තියෙන්නේ මේ හොටෙල් එක ඇතුලේ. මේ තමයි මේ චොක්ලට් ෆවුන්ටන් එක. මේකේ white chocolate, dark chocolate දෙකම තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම මේ චොක්ලට් ෆවුන්ටන් එක ගිනස් රෙකෝඩ් එකක් තියලා තියෙන්නේ. මේ තමයි හොටෙල් එකේ ඇතුලේ තියෙන ඉන්ඩෝ ගාඩන් එක. මේක ලස්සන නැචරල් ෆ්ලවර්ස් වලින් ඩෙකොරේට් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. අපි ඉතින් හැම තැනම ඉඳන් ෆොටෝස් ගත්තා. දැන් අපි යන්නේ වෝටර් ෂෝ එක බලන්න. ඒ ෂෝ එක නම් හරිම ලස්සනයි. ඒකම ඔයගලන්ට බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් අයිෆල් ටවර් එකත් ලස්සනට සරසලා තියෙනවා. මේ අයිෆල් ටවර් එක ෆ්‍රාන්ස් වල අයිෆල් ටවර් එක තරම්ම උස නැති වුණත් ඒ වගේම හදලා තියෙනවා. අපි දැන් වෝටර් ෂෝ එක බලලා ඉවර වෙලා යනවා. මේ හොටෙල් එක පිටිපස්සේ තියෙනවා හරියට රෝම් වල හදලා තියෙනවා වගේ ස්ටැචුස්. ඒව බලන්න. ඕගලන්ට මේ උඩ ඇත්ත අහස වගේ පෙවුනට මේකත් හදපු එකක්. අපි ලාස් වෙගාස් වල ස්ට්‍රීට් ලයිට්ස් බලලා ආපහු අපේ හොටෙල් එකට ආවා. මේ තියෙන අපේ හොටෙල් එකේ ලොබි එක. ඒකේ පල්ලෙහා තියෙන ඔක්කොම කැසිනෝස්. ඉතින් ඔයගොල්ලෝ මගේ වීඩියෝ එක බලුවට බොහොම ස්තුතියි. තවත් මේ වගේ ලස්සන වීඩියෝ එකකින් ආයිත් හම්බෙමු. බයි බයි.